And all, you can head on downstairs. Well, for the last 2 weeks, and today's our third, we've been talking about 3 weeks of generosity. See, we believe that God is so generous that he gave us himself and his son, Jesus. We believe that a heart transformed by this gift of Jesus will seek for ways to love people. And we believe that seeing our city renewed requires collaborating with different organizations. And so, for the past little bit, we've been highlighting a few different organizations. One is Lookout Society, and we talked about how they seek to help those who are either homeless or have no place to rest and provide shelter for them, and how our church has partnered with them to operate the emergency weather shelter. But this season, they are doing this initiative called Backpacks of Hope. And so that's why you see these backpacks here. These are not decorative. Someone actually bought them and stuffed them. And we've been encouraging you to consider supporting that organization. Last week, we talked about Journey Home Community and how they seek to welcome refugees in our city, providing them with a home and a community and a lot of the different resources they need to be able to make the transition to this new life here in Canada. And we talked about how one of the ways you could support them is by purchasing a gift card to a store, to the mall, where those would be given to these refugee families so that they could actually purchase gifts for their family members. This week, we're highlighting the work of Prayer 24/7 Canada. And our church has actually relied on a number of their resources throughout, since pandemic really began, as we started praying online and thinking, how do you pray for an hour straight? Some of us wondered. There was resources they provided. I know some of you actually use their Lectio 24/7 app, which is a great way, a great devotional that just leads you through time with God. Today, what we're doing is I've invited the senior theologian advisor of Prayer 24/7, Aaron White, to share a little bit about this important ministry. So Aaron, why don't you come on up and share a little bit with us. I've just got a few questions that I'm going to ask Aaron, and I'm really thankful that Aaron is here and that he was willing to share, because it was a bit of a last-minute invitation. And I was like, hey, I know this is last minute, it might not work at all, just going to throw it out there. And he was like, I'm there. So thank you, Aaron, for being here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the heartbeat of Prayer 24/7?
Sure. I mean, first I'll just say I'm so encouraged that your church is thinking in terms of finances and generosity of going out. And I love the Lookout Society. And I love Journey Home. I've done a lot of work with them. And I love hearing about caring for the BC flood victims. I think the churches that I've seen around the world that are thriving are those who, like in the book of Acts, say, everything we have doesn't belong to us. So I just love that you're thinking out. So well done. That's, I think, just really pleases the Father's heart. And that's really the heart of what 24/7 prayer has been. Was just seeking to please the Father's heart. It began in 1999 in England with a youth church.
Wow.
That just, they were doing lots of great things, but they realized they weren't very good at prayer. And they said, we better fix that. And so they decided in a genius move to pray about it. They said, Lord, would you, like the disciples, just teach us to pray? And so they set aside a room for 3 months and said, for every single hour of these 3 months, we're going to pray an hour at a time and kind of pass the baton to the next person. And then off of that, it just kind of accidentally blew up around the world. So now it's in over 100 countries around the world. And we have been praying nonstop, 24/7, since 1999. Wow. But it's like passing the baton. So it might be Macedonia, it might be Georgia, it might be Thailand, and just different groups praying 24/7 around the world. And our motto is reviving the church and rewiring the culture through prayer, mission, and justice. Because we started to realize very early on that when people started to pray and started to center their lives and their communities around prayer, mission and justice inevitably resulted. And really some of the most creative, innovative, effective mission and justice strategies that we've ever seen started to flow out of this place of prayer, which shouldn't surprise us, because as we're meeting with the God of justice and mission, we're going to catch his heart and go and do the things that he wants us to do. So we realize prayer is the thing we're made for, and then it leads us into good. And so that's what we seek to do.
That's beautiful. Man, I love that. Could you maybe share a story that illustrates some of the work and impact that you're having?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that we talk about is how we love to honor prayer. So the people and the groups who have been praying for sometimes generations. So we honor that. We like to highlight that. We love to inspire new prayer rooms. So we have a prayer room that's happening right now in the downtown east side that's gathering 12 different churches from the downtown east side together to pray. And we're just praying from last Wednesday to next Wednesday, nonstop, 24 hours for 7 days, and just gathering people from inside church and from outside church. So we have lots of people, we love this around the world, they accidentally find themselves in a prayer room. And so we don't typically do it too often inside churches. We try and find a place where someone might accidentally walk in. And we love when churches come together to pray. So we're praying in that way. And then we love, as we said, to resource more prayer. So we do teachings for churches and denominations and groups. And then we put out the Lectio 365 app, which millions of people actually around the world have been using, and other apps and books and teaching and so on. So we love seeing how the church goes deeper in prayer. And when it does go deeper in prayer, we start to see these other things happening. So, but like really the right now story is there's a prayer room happening. There's somebody in that prayer room right now praying for us this morning, praying for this church service. So,
I love that. Thank you. What is one of the best ways we can support Prayer 24/7 here in Canada?
So in Canada, we have a relatively ambitious vision for 2022. The numbers don't really matter all that much, but we heard from the Lord that we want to inspire 100,000 hours of prayer in 2022. If anyone's good at math, you'll realize there's about 4,700 hours in a year, which seems really small. I was shocked to find that out. So then to say, okay, 100,000 hours, that seems relatively impossible. But actually, it requires 50 prayer rooms a month to kind of make that happen. Plus, we'll add in all the kind of Lectio 365 hours and so on. So that's what we're trying to do. And it's really not about the hours, it's about the encounters. We say, what would happen in Canada if we helped inspire and resource and honor 100,000 encounters with God? We had a great story the other day where there was a little kid who was trying to prevent himself from going to bed. Anybody ever have that story? Yeah. Trying to say, no, there's all, and his mom said, no more water, no more stories, no more, just, I want you to lie in the room and talk to Jesus. And so she went away for a little bit, and she came back, and he was still awake, and she said, well, did you talk to Jesus? He goes, yeah. And he said, Jesus told me there's no monsters in the room. And she had never talked to him about monsters, and he never talked about monsters, but he had actually spoken to Jesus, and Jesus spoke back to him and said, there's no monsters in this room. We want those kind of encounters, 100,000 of those. So actually during the Christmas season, we are seeking to raise $100,000 because we have to really, to resource this, it takes work. Like prayer actually does take a lot of work. It's not just saying, hey, go pray and everyone does it. It actually takes work resourcing and helping and arranging and supporting people. So that's what we're in the middle of right now is our Christmas campaign to raise $100,000. But really, the other piece is we would love for this church to be part of that 100,000 hours of prayer next year. We're doing monthly themes. So January is the month of Christian unity, prayer for Christian unity. So we're running we have resources, 7-day resources to send out to everybody of how to pray for a full week, and also how to host an hour of prayer, and also how to, engage with your community in prayer, and how to do just works in prayer, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good, Aaron. Cascades, one of the ways you can give today is through Tithely. If you go on Tithely, you'll actually see 3 weeks of generosity, and it'll say Prayer 24/7 Canada. And all the money that's given there will go directly to supporting this initiative and the work that they're doing. Aaron, thanks so much